let's talk about shoe care.
Okay, let's talk about shoe care. How you polish your shoes, how you take care of them. It's very simple. First and foremost, what you need to do is just keep any cloth, any old cloth that you have. Older the cloth, the better. If it's a new cloth, what happens? It's still rough. It's not that smooth yet. So if you have any old cloth at your home which you've already used a lot of time, use that for your shoes to polish. So what you do first, the first and foremost thing is, if say this is a very old shoe, you just take this and clean this on the top, just to take away all the dirt, and yeah, just to take away all the dirt. And next what you do is you use the beeswax like I told you before. Like how you will apply the beeswax. So you take your cloth, say for example this was the cloth that you had in your home. You put your first two fingers inside the cloth, turn it around like this so that it sits in your hand nicely, and yep, there you go. That's how the formation is. So what you do is, this is the neutral because I'm using it on a tan shoe. What you do is basically take some of the polish, the beeswax polish on the shoe, keep it in small circular motions right there, just like that.
Question.
Yes.
Would this be a full grain leathers?
Yes, so this is basically for your full grain leather shoes, and mostly, I mean, any leather shoe, even if it's half grain, if it's full grain, this is the process that you will follow to clean all your shoes. So, like I will continue what I was doing. So you take a bit of beeswax. I've taken a bit of beeswax, you guys can see it over here. Apply it in small circular motions, like how I'm doing it. You need to repeat this process all over the shoe. I'm just showing it to you on the front so that we can move on to the other topic as well. So once you've done this, you leave it down, you take the other shoe, repeat the same process all over the shoe. Once you've done that, once you've polished, once you've applied the beeswax on both your shoes, you use the brush that you keep for all the other colors, and what you do is basically just rub out all the polish on the top, just like that. Yep, you'll see a bit of sheen that is coming on the top. It gives it a little bit of sheen on the top. Now, once you've done this, one thing which is very important, not a lot of people will tell you, is leather is made out of animal skin, right? It is very important to hydrate your leather. So what you do is you take small droplets of water onto your cloth and rub it in a circular motion all over the shoe. So what it does is basically helps you elongate the shoe life. Once the leather starts becoming too dry, it starts to become very brittle. When it starts becoming brittle, it starts cracking. You don't want that to happen to your shoe. You will see when the shoe gets older, it leaves a lot of creases and it'll start breaking from the top. So if you hydrate your shoes regularly, you can avoid it to basically crack from the top or get it too brittle or get it too hard.
These would be for full grain leather.
Full grain leather shoes. Yes.
Basically what I'm trying to what I understand is that there are different types of shoes,
yes,
which require different types of care.
Absolutely.
So maybe we could go over a different one, but we actually have a query right now from one of our viewers.
Mm-hmm.
The question is, which material do you recommend in shoe horns, which are also convenient in travel purposes?
So any shoe horn can be plastic, shoe horn can be made out of leather, could be made out of steel as well. If you're traveling, keep a smaller one in your bag, a travel bag, or if you have it at home, you can use a larger one as well so that you don't have to bend too much, but you can just use the shoe horn to wear your shoe. So the material on the shoe horn doesn't really matter because this is just to help you wear the shoe nicely and easily. So yeah. So like he was just talking about, there are different kinds of shoes, right? There are full grain leather shoes, there are suede shoes, there are patent leather shoes. Now I'll talk to you about patent leather shoes first. The most easiest to maintain is your patent leather shoe. So as we all know, patent leather shoes are those high gloss finish shoes. You don't really need to polish them. So because there's already a coating on top of it, you really don't need to polish it. Like I'll show you how the patent leather looks like. Here, this is a patent leather shoe. You don't need to polish this. just use a dry cloth, a soft dry cloth to clean any dirt which is settled on top of the shoe. Just use a dry cloth like I'm using right here. Just clean it, just like that. And you can use your edge dressing tools to clean the edges of the shoe. That's about it. Remember, on patent leather, we will never use a polish. No polish is required because there is already a coating on the top. Next we come to suede shoes.
Are patent sorry, we have a question.
Oh,
so
yes,
before we move on to the next, let me ask you that. Are patent leather shoes waterproof?
No. So basically, no shoes are waterproof. Be it patent leather, be it full grain, be it suede, none of them are waterproof. You can make your shoes water resistant to an extent, not waterproof. Patent leather, because there's already a coating on the top, it can withstand a bit of water, but not too much of it. So if you're out in the rain, which is raining very heavily, you really don't want to go out there when it's raining very heavily. In case it does get wet, be it patent, be it oil leather, or be it your suede shoes, just come back home and leave it under room temperature or under a fan. That is great as well. Leave it overnight for at least say 10 to 12 hours. Let it dry on its own. Do not use a hair dryer or any heating material to dry off, because if you use some external source, it gets too hard and the leather cannot withstand that, and it gets brittle and start breaking as well. So once again, if your shoes get really drenched in rain, just leave it under a fan or under room temperature for at least 10 to 12 hours, and then you can start polishing them again. So now coming to the suede shoes, this is how a suede shoe looks like. You, again, like patent leather shoes, you do not polish these. You do not use any kind of beeswax or a cream polish to polish these shoes. What you need to do is, first and foremost, always remember, when you are cleaning your suede leather shoes, you will do it in only one direction. In only one direction, like how I'm doing right now. This is just to take off all the dirt which is settled on the top. That's it. That's how simple it is, right? Now for suede, because you cannot polish them, there are different ways to maintain it as well. In the markets all over, you get those water resistant sprays. So what you can do is just hold your shoe at a distance. Say if I had a spray in my hand, you would just use a spray from a distance and spray it all over the shoe. Now these sprays can be used for your full grain leather shoes as well, but we would recommend to use it more on your suede shoes and not on your full grain leather shoes, because you're already using the beeswax on it, right? So how you do your suede shoes, basically do it in one direction only. What happens is, if you do it in 2-3 different directions like this, you'll see it right here. It'll change the texture of the suede shoe. Here, I go from left to right, it goes from light to dark. You don't want your shoes to look 2 different colors on the same shoe, right? So on your suede shoes, just do a normal brush. You can also do is you can do a hard brush to take off all the difficult stains and difficult dirt to take off, and then just a soft brush to take it off, and that's it. Or what you can also do, there are a lot of shoe laundry which are available here in almost every city. Suede shoes can be sent for shoe laundry as well. So they have the suede shampoo which are available. You can use the suede shampoo and have your shoes cleansed as well. So now moving on, there is something like I was talking about the waterproofing. How do you waterproof? There are a lot of products available in the market to waterproof your shoes. Not all of these products can completely save you from water. They will make your shoes water resistant to an extent, like I've told you before, but not waterproof. So when it's raining, you need to be a little careful. But if you used the tips that I've already told you during this video, you can, of course, save your shoes from getting bad or losing its shape, losing its color, and all of those stuff. So coming to the end, what I would like to repeat, I would like to give you a small recap of what all you need to do to maintain your shoes. So for example, if you're having a full grain leather shoes, you'll always use a cloth, an old cloth, a dry cloth to take off the dirt. You would use a beeswax polish, a neutral one for all the colors, a black one for your black shoes, once you've applied the neutral polish with the help of a cloth, you will always do it in a circular motion. So once you've done that, you will use the soft horsehair brush to take off the excessive polish and let the polish settle down into the leather. Once you've done that, I would also recommend a buffer cloth, say any soft cloth like a silk or anything. You can just use a silk cloth to give it a last buffing sheen on the top. So yeah, that's about it. I hope I've helped you enough, and probably in our next video.
If anyone has any questions, we would be
So
happy.
if you have any more questions, you can always leave your questions in the comment section below, and we'll be more than happy to answer all of those to you.